Hello and welcome to the Scrutineer here for SimNews.TV. I'm Mike and I'm here to bring you everything there is to know about GPVWC's Super League and the race coming up tomorrow. So we are at round 3, so we're round 3 in China tomorrow. If you've caught the Formula Challenge or the Super Cup over the past 2 nights, great, you might get a bit of an idea of what the weather might be like, for example, for tomorrow, and little bits and dealings like that. Maybe some drivers that might step up, who quite knows. What I will go through today, like we've been going through the last few shows, is the car upgrades, because we've got more car upgrades again. We've got engine upgrades, we've got the engine choices, and we've got the tyre choices. They're the things that impact this race tomorrow massively. It's just really hard to find out necessarily what's going on behind the scenes unless you watch this. So this is keep you informed and really enjoy the show. If you watch the last 2 races, they have been incredible. We have seen drama, we've seen fantastic drives, and it just makes it even better to know how good some of these drives were. They may not necessarily won, but if they weren't in the right car or on the right tyres or on the right choices in that way, then it could have been an amazing drive, but the team let them down on some choices even 2 weeks ago and have let them down potentially. Right, so let's jump straight in like we did last time. Car upgrades. So this time we've got, if you remember rightly from race episode 1, we went through all the upgrades and how they work. So it takes 21 days as a minimum to get any upgrade built and put on the car. So that's how long it takes to actually build the components and put them on the car before the race on the Thursday. So in that circumstance, you can't actually bring the largest upgrade you can for the previous race and get a full upgrade in for the race straight after. You can finish your upgrade early to allow yourself the 21 days in between, which we'll go through that some teams have. Others though who went maximum car for last round can't actually upgrade for this round, but you'll see them next round. So you'll see a lot of teams do say round 2, then round 4, round 6, and they do it that way. Some others though will go off the beaten track and do round 3, round 5, or some do 1 upgrade for each round. You can do 2 upgrades on the car each time, so you can do 2 simultaneously, or you can have say 1 finish for round 2, the other one finish for round 3, whilst the one that finished round 2 is doing for round 4, and so on. But you never end up with the fully maximised car for any particular round. So it's always interesting to see what different teams decide to do. I know personally when I did it last year, we always had an upgrade per race. It kept us a sort of level car, never quite the top car, but was always there or thereabouts. Other teams who traditionally maybe who aren't championship runners will go, right, we're going to fully go out for 1 race and win that race, but then there'll be nowhere the race after, and then really go after it again. So, and it gets you a lot of points potentially. Doesn't necessarily win you championships, but does get you a lot of points. So we went for an awful lot of upgrades last round. Most teams brought full upgrades to that event. So if you remember, let's quickly go through the ones from last time. Actually, we ended up with the Kerner was the highest at 40 points development last time out. But we have now got a new leader in that, because if you remember Storm Racing last time we went through, they'd done a very small upgrade. So it wasn't much, it was only about half as much as the other cars that were on the grid last time out. Well, this time that has allowed them to get an upgrade in for this car, so this race. So actually they've got the most developed car now. So very quickly going through what they've done. So they've done front wing downforce and they've done rear wing downforce this time round. So since last time they've done that for here. That was on top of course, the front wing dirty air and the diffuser downforce they did small amounts last time. So that brings them to a new total of 47. So that's 7 points more than even Kerner had. So they're the biggest winners out of this one really. They've got the most developed car on this grid. The next one to introduce, and the only other one that's done any major upgrades, is Madcake. Do you remember last time we were questioning what on earth they were doing? They didn't have any upgrades on that car whatsoever, which is kind of amazing that they actually did quite well in the race, but we have found out that actually at this stage it is small amounts of development that are going on the car, so it's only very minor differences, but they can make big change in the race over the course of a whole event. But you still see these people qualifying very well and certain things like that. So Madcake though have brought a development, so to be honest, I expected them to bring either a full whack like most teams do. We've had new teams come out in the past and go, we're not developing for round 2 like everyone else, we're going to develop everything for round 3 and really go after it and try and win. They haven't done that. They have developed a little bit, so they have got a bit of diffuser downforce, and that's a 12% development there. That's it. They did 1 development of 12%, so that either means they're only doing 1 and they're trying to save some money and they've given up on the year in all honesty, or they've gone, well, actually we're going to develop for round 4. Now, in all the years of Super League, I've never seen a team go, we're going to write off the first 3 rounds and not bother them and just go for round 4. But maybe that's what they're doing. Maybe they're learning the game. Maybe they made some errors. I don't quite know. I'm fascinated to find out what on earth's going on at Mad Cape, because they're good. They're a big team. They're not like they know what they're doing. They've got some good personnel behind them. So we'll find out what's happening there. But still, the car is still by far the worst in the grid. So they've still only got 12% development. Granted, it is a good area, so it's a very popular area. Diffuser downforce, it was the best area to do last year. Quite a few have done it this year already. So it does bring them up to speed a little bit, particularly through the corners, things like that. And they have got the Valiant engine, which we'll get into in a minute, which also has development. So there is a little bit more to it. But actually, around here, you've got them at 12 and you've got Storm at 47. It's quite a big difference in some respects. So we'll see. They could have moved on a little bit though. Lee Morris managed to pull the car with 0 development, apart from engine, up into the upper reaches of the points. So we'll see what he can do this time around. Be exciting to see. They're the only 2 that have done any car developments. The only other one to mention is Street Fighter also did the pit stop tyre change speed as well. They hadn't done that last time, so they've added to the list of people that have done that. So they've done theirs to 12 as well, which isn't even a full development, but they have done a small amount there. Might help them in pit stops slightly, so that adds to the other 7 that have. So there's a handful that haven't, but generally, so we've still got people that have done the pit stops. So we've got Vobble, Nordgen, Adonis, Hawkeye, Red Archer, Storm did their full development now, and now Street Fighter. So they're the ones that have done the pit upgrade as well. You can do that simultaneously along with the other 2, so you'll see that one probably developing quite quickly. That'll probably be the first thing to hit 100%, because it's a lot quicker than the car developments. Engine development wise, so that's it. That's all that we put on the cars. Everything else was exactly the same as last time, so I'll quickly run you through actually what we've still got from last time. So in development order, you've still got Kerno, you've got Storm now with 47 points, Kerno at 40. You then run down to Adonis at 39. You've got Hawkeye and Nordson on 38. Woods on 37. You go with quite a few on 36. So you go Walters. You've got Green Stripes, Red Archer on 35, Street Fighter on 35, and Bubble on 31, and then you go down to Mad Cape on 12. So that's sort of your list of developments. Obviously it's not quite as clear as that as just throwing developments on the car. It's all in different areas as well, and that can impact as well. If you put, I don't know, a lot of people doing front wing, that might be much more popular and add a lot more time, even if you've only developed 20%, than if you developed 40% on dirty air, for example. So the figures themselves aren't quite as clear, but still the same car as last time. So what you saw in the races last time is exactly the same car they've got this time out. Particularly if they're a non-Valiant runner, then they've got the exact same cars they had last time out, because the other engines haven't improved either. So we'll go for the engines now. So if you remember last time, we showed that the 3 engine manufacturers of Martex, Trinity and Talos had all done their maximum upgrade possible for the second round. So that meant they haven't had time to develop for this round. So they did their whole 26 points, whereas we did note that Valiant early finished theirs at 20%, so they have had enough time to get another upgrade in. So they did 20% fuel, they've now managed to throw 20% power, so brake horsepower, onto that car as well for here. So now they're quite a long way ahead in the engine stand, so they've done 40% development, whereas the others are on 26 of their respective areas, Martex on power and the other 2 on fuel. So that actually means that, what does that mean to us watching as the viewers? It means actually they've got sort of the best of both worlds for this one. They take up half the grid, so most of the teams are run by the Valiant engine. Of those though, they can now use the fuel upgrade, allows them to either save a bit of fuel or use a lot more boost. And the power upgrade obviously just gives them raw brake horsepower. As we get into the engine choices now as well, there is that wear that you lose if you're using used engines. Interestingly, even if they've used that engine already, they still get that upgrade on the engine. So if you were using a used engine previously, it would not say 5 or 10 brake horsepower. But actually, if they've upgraded anyway and added an extra 5, they're only back to where they were, but they're using a used engine, so they're no worse off. So they might be able to get away with using a used engine this round and still be better or the same as they would have been against the other teams anyway this round. Does mean though they're likely to lose out in round 4. So we'll probably see in round 4 the other 3 engine manufacturers improve their engine and probably jump ahead, whereas Valiant, which is run by Bob Bull, they have managed to get their upgrade in now, but they won't be able to do it again now till round 5 in Austria. So that's the ones there. So if we go through to, do you remember we were doing engine choices? So these teams have 6 engines to use throughout the season. They have to roughly do 3 races on an engine, assuming they finish certain races. If they don't finish the race and they only do say 2 laps on it, they barely warm the engine. It's only a couple of % lost off it. roughly at the moment we're finding if you're doing a full race, it's roughly about 30% of the engine loss. Depends slightly on how many laps they're doing, qualifying and things like that, because it's done on per kilometre run, but nonetheless about 30%. So we're finding now that certain drivers who have not changed engines, if they used the same engine in round 1, they used it again in round 2, and if they're using it again now, you're probably looking at around a 40% engine, somewhere around there. So that's quite a lot of power loss compared to, say, a 100% engine, particularly now with someone like a Valiant or a Martex, where they have got the power increase as well as development, so that actually adds them even further. So let's go through in championship order, shall we, to make it a little bit easier for you. So Bob Bull still lead the championship, and Mr Van Buren, with his unfortunate disconnect last time out, it means he actually never ran the whole race distance though. So he actually didn't finish, but only 3 laps difference. So he's still got a very worn engine. So he's still using that engine, he's stuck with it. So he's got 40% engine. So if they didn't get the result, he still did an awful lot of time on it. So he's got 40% engine. His teammate Capit has stuck with the same engine as well, and he's got 70% because he took a fresh one in round 2. Nordson, they've stuck with the engines they had last time out as well. So David Fidek running at 36% because he's finished both races. Florian Guy on 67, so you remember he crashed out in round 1, so he used that engine which was basically fresh in round 2 and has now got it for this round as well. He could probably do another round on that if he needed to, but he doesn't actually have to. Like I say, you only need to use 3 engines during the engine for 3 races. Hawkeye, remember they won out last time, so Mr Cooper, congratulations on your win. In the Hawkeye, it's long overdue for that team after their dismal year the year before, so it's great to see them back up on there. But they've gone for fresh engines this time out. Now, interestingly, Cooper did the same thing last time out. He got a fresh engine, so he's now on round 3 and using his 3rd fresh engine. So that's fine if he thinks this is a 3 that you want to use your power on. Really go for it. But actually, further down the line, when there's a lot more development on these engines, you could get a lot more power out of them. So it's interesting to see that he's actually just gone all out for now. And he's going to try and trickle off later with the less powered engines. So he's using half of his fresh engines by round 3. On the other hand, though, Olsen has also got a new engine, but remember his other engine hasn't had as much use on it, so he will be able to use that one again at some stage and still have a reasonably fresh engine. As will Cooper, his ones will only have done 1 race, so they'll only be at 70%. So it's not end of the world, but it's interesting they've gone that route, which is completely different to, say, Fidek and Van Buren, who are on the 3rd race on the same engine. And that's Hawkeye's own engine, of course. They haven't had an upgrade of power on that. Mad Kate, so De Jong unfortunately hasn't really finished much yet, so he's still got a 93% engine, and he's still using the first one. And Morris is on a 69% engine. That's the same one he used last time out, because he had a fresh one last time out. But they have got their brake horsepower extra from Valiant. Walters, Baldy's gone for a new engine, so he's got 100% there. And Karanku has 88%. As well from not finishing either way so far, actually. Adonis, Canton's kept the same engine, and so has Lopez, so that means Canton's on 50% because the first round didn't finish, and Lopez, though, has finished both rounds, so he's got a 33% engine. So as we go through, that's actually the least of any. So they'll be the one to watch. Watch Lopez's Adonis, 33% engine. Bearing in mind, it's taking about 30% out just finishing a round, so he's going to get mighty close on that engine. Will we see the first breakdown of the year? Who knows? I'm going to be watching him very closely to see what he does there. There is ways and means, and obviously it's not quite as precise if you get down to 0. There is a bit of randomness in it as well, in that how you drive that car, and the game itself does allow a little bit of randomness into the elements as well, just to have breakdowns. But we could see that. Kerner are next up. With Bart de Vos has taken a fresh engine, as has Zepanik. So both of them on a fresh engine as well in the Kerno. Woods have followed suit as well with Redshaw and Jacobs, both with 100% new engines as well. Loving this power track, these people. Everyone's going for 100% engines here. Street Fighter, they've gone for 100% engines with Horrell, and Franchich is back in the car for this round as well. So that'll be interesting to see. The first time we've seen him this year. Minex stepping in for the first 2 rounds, did a brilliant first round. Still finished second round, so good on him, but it'll be interesting to see how Franchich does. Very fast last year, keeping up with Capit, remember. They both got fresh engines, including the new Valiants. That's 2 fresh Valiant engines, which has the extra power, so that'll be really interesting to see how they do. Storm have also got fresh engines. Not surprising, they're going all out for this event. They've thrown all the upgrades on the car, they've got the new Valiant engine with the extra power and the fuel, and they've thrown new engines in. Fantastic. Watch out for Storm this round, they are going for it. Red Archer Hins has a 37% engine, so that's not going to last in too long. It'll be fine for this round, I'd imagine, but it's very worn. But they have got the fresh engine from Valiant, so that gives a little bit more brake horsepower, but then it's worn down as well. And we don't know who's in the second seat. Unfortunately, Benfield has decided personal circumstances he's not in it. So even at this point of recording, I don't know who's taking that seat, so that'll be exciting. But whoever does has a 69% engine. So it's run one race, easy for me to say. And that means it's only 69, so it's better than his teammate, but we'll see how that one pans out as well. And Green Stripes, they have Varley in a 64% engine and Beavis on a 66. It's very close there as well. They both run around on that one. And Varley finishing one there. So it'll be interesting to see how everyone pans out. It's very different there. You've got some drivers, even some of the top drivers we've seen in the last races, sticking to that engine in what is quite a power track. And then others go, no, I want that fresh engine, I need to go after it. So we could see a big thing there, because we have seen so far actually that probably the engine is a bigger impact at the moment than the car. It's a very engine mod potentially. It's very based around the power and the boost usage. It makes a massive difference compared to the small amount of upgrades we're doing at the moment. As we get further in the year and the car upgrades are a lot higher, that'll make a big difference. At the moment we're still talking very small amounts. You know, we're talking 20% upgrades on certain areas. It's not great. So once we get to sort of 50s, 60s, that'll make a big difference. But for now, the engines are a massive impact. So I, personally, be looking at all those Valiant cars, particularly ones with fresh engines. So again, you're looking at the Storms, the Street Fighters. Who else has got fresh engines in there? Kernos as well. They've taken fresh engines of the Valiant. So it'll be really interesting to see what they managed to pull out with. So we finally come on to tyres. Remember we were doing the tyres? So we've seen a few different strategies going so far. And we're doing the same again here. There is two set strategies, so no one is again taking the hards. To be honest, as we've seen with in the Super League show, if you watched that last week, Casper has stuck his neck out saying we won't use that hard tyre all season. Ben disagreed, but nonetheless, I'm probably sticking with Casper on this one at the moment. It looks that way. If they were going to use it anywhere, there's a lot more degradation at this round. There's a lot more heat in those tyres, and it's making a big difference on wear. But you'll find that no one's taking the hards. Absolutely no team at all. I'd imagine that tyre is probably not quite right for this mod at the moment. We might see as the cars and certain downforce ends up on the cars, and things that might make a bigger difference potentially. But at the moment, while there's not a lot and there's not as much wear, we're not seeing it for now. So, good on Casper for putting his neck out there. We'll see. I kind of agree with him. Just run down to one of the garages and found out there's a bit of a tyre change that has been missed. So I thought I'd bring you all the up-to-date action on tyres. We actually have got a big change there on one of the teams. In the meantime though, let's go for the actual team choices on tyres. So tyre choices, we've got two big strategies that a lot of teams have taken and one team that's gone slightly off track. So we've got two routes. First route I'm going to call what is now becoming the VOD Ball route, which is the Ultra Softs, the Super Softs and the Softs. So that's the three softest compounds, should be the three fastest tyres, but wear a lot quicker. Awful lot of teams have taken them, but we have seen a lot of stops from these teams, and this is what they've done most races so far. Van Buren winning first time out, and Hawkeye doing the same thing last time out as well. So the teams that have taken on those tyres are Vodball, Nordström, Woods, Red Archer, Street Fighter and Mad Cape. So they're the teams that all have the fastest tyres there. The second group, who have then gone for what I'm now going to call the Adonis route, because they've done this a few races now, doesn't have the ultra soft tyre, but they do have the super soft, the soft and the medium. So the three tyres that they've got there. That gives them a bit more durability. We've seen Adonis using it last time out as well. Not a great use, but it did do a lot less tyres, a lot less stops, sorry, not less tyre choice. So it'll be interesting to see how they do on this, particularly with the degradation at this track. It might be the right choice, but two very different strategies. And the teams that are taking on them is Adonis, Storm, Kerno, Walters and Hawkeye. So it's interesting, there's some big teams up there as well. Hawkeye win the last race and they changed strategy for this round, which is interesting. To go along with the Adonis route, that's both Talos engines using that one. Maybe there's a bit of discussion going on there, who quite knows. And then the final choice comes from our Green Stripes team. They're out on their own. They have picked the Ultra Soft tyre, so they can still do that qualifying like all the other group in the volleyball group there can do. They could be right up there doing that, but that won't last very long. But they have got the medium as well, and they've also got the super soft in the middle. So between those three, they've got a good choice there of what they want to do. It keeps it open for them. They might not choose to run the ultra soft in qualifying, because they had picked tyres so last week, it's interesting to see that actually maybe they've given themselves just those options between the. We haven't seen anyone use all 3 compounds in a race yet. You can, but we haven't seen anyone do it yet. So they're quite likely to be deciding, maybe up until the last minute, even maybe see what the weather's like, as to whether they use the ultra soft or the medium, or both. Who knows? So there'll be one I'll be watching. They haven't had the most luck so far. Something on them though, they have got their test driver in place of Beavis, so that's going to be Ben Willis as well. So that's an up-to-date driver lineup change there. So that's sort of your mix before tomorrow. There's so much going on. So let's quickly recap there. So we've got upgrades to the Storm car, we've got upgrades to the Mad Cape car. They're the only 2 really that make a big difference there. We've got an upgrade on the Valiant engine, which supplies 7 teams. And we've got mixed of engine choices, quite a lot of teams taking fresh engines as well. But some of the big boys so far have taken some used engines, some very worn engines. That is their 3rd race, so it's the most worn you'll ever see them. And we've seen 2 different lots of tyre choices. Mix all that in to this round as well, it's just going to be an incredible race. If I had to rank these teams, a few teams last time out, I had to call out a few teams that I thought would be right out there with the cars. Hawkeye was one of them, and it won the race. Disappointingly though, Adonis had the exact same car as Hawkeye and were nowhere. You know, Lopez did a bit of recovery drive, but realistically we're never in the hunt like Hawkeye. It's interesting to see that they're going the exact same routes near enough. In fact, they have on the tyres and everything, and they're getting completely different results out of it. That's down to the team, that's down to the drivers, that's on them. So if I was in Adonis' shoes, I'd be kicking these drivers, I'd be kicking this team. What on earth are we doing wrong here? They're not the only ones, but just highlight because they've done the exact same and they won the highest upgraded cars. So looking at the teams this time out, I'd say Storm, you've just got to look at Storm. They've got the most upgraded car, they've got the most upgraded engine, and they've got the fresh engines. And the only thing they haven't got is the ultra soft tyres. In fact, the only question mark to them, but to be honest, they should run away with it. If they haven't got 2 good point finishes here, they should be disappointed at the end of this round. Simple as that. Other people to watch out for, of course, you can't, you know, there's quite a few there with quite a lot of 100% engines. I want to see where Mad Cape end up. I don't think they're the 2nd best team, but I still think we're talking Storm at the top. You're probably talking Hawkeye as your next up. Cars developed, fresh engines, should do well. And to be honest, car-wise, and Adonis should be there. If Adonis don't get into that top 5, they are letting themselves down, and we can put it all down saying, actually, you know what, Francesconi and everyone last year did a great job. Was it just a one-off? I'm worried we're 2 races in, and at the moment I'm starting to think, well, that was last year, this is a one-off. But I'd love to see them getting back up the front there again and doing well. Nordson you can't discount, their car's good, the drivers know what they're doing. Little question mark on Fidex engine potentially, it's not going to blow up particularly, but it's a bit down on power compared to say Gaia, and they haven't got quite as much upgrade there. Other than those, I'd be looking at Kerno. They've still got a pretty strong car, they've got some good drivers, they've got fresh engines, and you know, but all these teams are sort of taking, they haven't got the ultra softs either, they haven't got the ultra softs, Hawkeye haven't got the ultra softs, so I'd love to see what they're doing there. Obviously at VB, we think we've gone the right route, but who quite knows, we'll find out and see if people copy us and do what's going on. So that's tomorrow, we've got the race at 8 o'clock on GPVWC.com and their YouTube channel. Catch the Super League show the following week, where we'll review it at SimNews.TV here with Jake, Ben and Casper. Fantastic thing to watch, I love listening to it. And then you can catch me again in 2 weeks' time. There's an awful lot coming up this month. We've got Parker's Pit Stop back. We've got some new shows as well coming up, which are all on our list. Have a check below. Get subscribing. Don't miss out on anything. It's fantastic to see what's going on. There's loads on, and if you want to get involved, just get in contact. There's so much we can do. There's so many shows we can create. It doesn't have to be GPVWC based. There's so much going on. We love seeing sim racing all around the world. There's so many fantastic events going on that we might even be missing. Tell us what we're missing. Tell us about it, and we can start telling you what we think and what's going on. Thank you very much for watching. I've been the Scrutineer for SimNews.TV.